Welcome to A Better You podcast. Let's start today to develop a better you. This podcast takes on life's challenges and obstacles, such as overcoming addictions, behaviors, midlife career changes, to keeping your family together. The show that gives you take-home assignments to overcome obstacles of the week. Receive godly wisdom for a more fulfilling and purpose-driven life with Anthony McFarland. Let's get started with crafting a better you.
Hello, friends. This is Anthony McFarland. Welcome to A Better You podcast. As most of you know by now, and those of you who don't know, I've joined a financial literacy campaign that I'm very excited about because it's a part of my mission to assist people with living their best life. Why? Because your life matters, your health matters, your finances matter, your family matters, your destiny matters. I want to talk to you today about the need for insurance, why we need insurance, and understanding the different types of insurance, as well as a focus on life insurance. The reality is, accidents and disasters can and do happen like all the time, right? If you aren't flush with cash to handle those crises, those accidents, those disasters, when they pop up, you could face huge financial struggles and setbacks. So when we talk about insurance, insurance is one way to protect your life, your health, your ability to earn an income, and to keep a roof over your head when things go wrong. And if you don't know by now, I'm here to tell you things will go wrong. Sometimes life throws us these curveballs and we don't know how that happened, where that came from. We had no warning signs that this was going to happen, that there was going to be an accident, that there was going to be a storm coming our way, right? And so there's a number of different types of insurances available, and it's unlikely you need or even want all of them at the same time. But if you have loved ones or assets worth protecting, you probably need to at least have a few different types of coverages so that you're protected. Insurance provides protection, right? So there's about 8 different types of insurances. You have life insurance, which we're going to talk about in this episode, motor insurance, health insurance, travel insurance, property insurance, for your home, mobile insurance, cycle insurance, and what some would call bite-size insurance, like business insurance, liability insurance, things like that, key man insurance. There's all other bite-sized type insurances that some people need. And then a bonus is what we call final expense. Final expense pays quicker than life insurance, and most people don't know that. And so it's always good to have a final expense insurance policy. Why? Because sometimes it can take 4 weeks, 6 weeks. I know someone right now, because there were the death of the loved one in the hospital. There were questions around it. They're doing an investigation, and now we're at 6 weeks, and they actually need the final conclusion of death to get the policy to submit it to the insurance company for them to have those monies released so that they can prepare their loved one's service. And so the beautiful thing about, and I'll talk about it in a different episode, final expense, it requires no medical exam. So no matter what state of health you're in, you get guaranteed coverage. Now, as you can see, there are different types. There's different kinds of insurances to suit people's different needs. You have to find out what's good for you, what's right for you. And here's another important thing that you should know. There's no such thing as bad insurance or good insurance. But I'll tell you this, it's important that you're educated on insurance insurances in general, and especially when it comes to life insurance. If not, people who are out to sell you will sell you oftentimes things that you don't really need. Why? Because their objective is to get a sale, as much as you know that it's important that you have life insurance or different types of policies that protect you, your family, your assets. So again, there are many types of life insurance policies that can help you protect your family. And they all fall into basically two main categories, and that's term and permanent. Some would say or refer to permanent as whole life insurance. So let's review term insurance first. With a term policy, you get coverage for a defined length of time, let's say 10 years or 20 years. A lot of people, have a 20-year term, especially baby boomers who got insurance years and years and years ago. Now, if you're dying during that time, money is paid to your beneficiaries, but when the term is over, you must get a new coverage or go without it. Oftentimes, you can't afford what the new cost on a policy is going to be after 10, 15, 20 years based on your financial situation. Maybe you were paying $130 for a $500,000 policy, and now you're 15 years later, let's just say you got that policy at 25. Now, hey, you're 40 or, you're 45, and, life has thrown you some of those curveballs and you're having a challenge with your health. And so now it's a little tougher to get qualified for a policy, but sticking to this term life policy, what it costs at 25, the cost will be different at 35, 45, 50 years old. Are you understanding what I'm saying here? So when we talk about permanent life, whole life, universal life, they provide lifelong coverage with a cash value component that can help with many objectives, like helping to build your retirement nest egg, which is so important. Don't just depend on your 401k, 403b. This type of policy carries cash value, so it helps you with your retirement nest egg while providing protection for life and other financial benefits along the way. To help you decide which kind of protection will work best for you, I want to share some things that you need to know. You need to know the basic features of life insurance policies, the different kinds of life insurance policies, which I won't go over today. I'll go over that in maybe the next episode, and then how to take the next step. Now, what are the basic features of life insurance policy? At its core, life insurance policy is a promise. It's a promise from an organization, a company, to provide financial protection to your loved ones if you're not there. So that if you transpire, which we all are going to transition one day, you're able to take care of your family, your loved ones, your favorite nonprofit organization, church, that sort of thing. So the way a policy carries out that promise is defined by a few key features. The first is the death benefit, the amount of money the insurance company will pay when the insured person dies. Typically, this benefit, and this is the good news, is income tax free. That's good news. The other component is the beneficiaries, the person or people who get the death benefit. It can all go to a single person, a surviving spouse, or it can be divided by percentage among a few people. Again, your spouse could get 50%, and let's just say you have 3 adult children and 2 grandchildren. You can say, okay, my 3 adult children are going to get 15% each, and then that last, I don't know, that last 15% will be divided between the two grandchildren. And so you can do that however you want to do it. And by the way, a beneficiary doesn't have to be a blood relative or even a person. Again, it's whoever you choose to leave that money to, shelters for animals, the homeless. Most philanthropists will always make sure that not just their families, but there's organizations, listen to me, their church who receives a benefit. Why? Because they want to assist in a continued legacy and supporting a vision that's making a difference in people's lives, animals' lives, whatever that may be, Red Cross, whatever that may be. So you can leave all or part of that death benefit to an entity of your choice. Now, another component of a life insurance policy is the policy length or term that you need to pay attention to. The time period that the insurer agrees to pay a death benefit in a term policy, it's defined as a specific number of years, such as 10, 20, or 30-year policy. A permanent policy, a whole life policy, universal policy lasts for the life of the insured. For whole life, as long as the premiums are paid, and for universal life, as long as the policy is funded properly to pay the monthly expenses, you're good, you're set, you're locked in. And so it's important that you understand the dynamics of that as well. When we talk about the premium, which is another component of a life insurance policy, it's the monthly or yearly payments needed to keep the policy in effect. Also, it's important that if you have a challenge and you have a challenge with paying your premium, it's easy just to contact a corporate office and let them know that you need to have your payment extended, and they'll do that for you. So again, it's important, if you have a policy, that you understand, what their guidelines are if you needed to extend a payment. Now, the last part of a life insurance policy that you need to understand is the cash value. The policy's investment component that builds over time and can be cashed out or borrowed against. And that's the beauty of a whole life, a universal, IUL. Those policies, listen to me, you can borrow money from those policies. On a term policy, the term policy has no cash value. Hear me. The older you get, and I want to speak to those who are, let's say, 40, 45 years old, the older you get, and, believing God that you have no health challenges, you don't want to pay into a 15, 20-year policy that has no cash value. And especially if you're paying $150, $200, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense in your in planning your future and planning for retirement. You want to have a policy that has cash value, that has a guaranteed 2%, and maybe the max on it is 4%. There's some policies you can get 6% with your IULs, your index, universal life type policies. You can get an average of 8 or 9% with a max of 15%. So that's a great return on your money. And it has tax advantages. You have the protection in that type of policy that you need on your money, and it just works to your benefit. So with that being said, this is just I wanted to give you a basic understanding of an insurance policy. And so with that, join me next week for the next part of this financial literacy series. Again, as I always say, pop in a message below if you have a question, and I promise I'll get back to you and answer that question. And thank you for joining me. and share this with those that you know. Until the next time, thank you for joining me this week.
Thank you for tuning into A Better You program with Anthony McFarland.